Hello, my name is Matthias, and welcome to the FPL Scope and my team selection video for Game Week 7, the final game week before we get into the second international break of the season, where I'm also going to be bringing you a lot of content along the way, especially looking back at the first 7 game weeks and how I've done so far. And after 6 game weeks at least, so far so good, 86k overall, really happy with that. Most of that, or a lot of that, is down to the 100 points that I got this past game week. Triple captaincy activated on Haaland, 48 points in total for him. I brought him in this game week as well. That was always the plan, even in preseason. I said that game week 6 is when I'm going to shift from Salah to Haaland, because I figured Haaland would have really good fixtures at this point. And yes, I should have had Haaland from the start, but at the same time, I've done pretty well for myself anyway, so I don't really care that much that I didn't have Haaland early on. I also used the free hit in game week 3 to bring him in against Brighton and have him as the captain there, so that worked out for me as well. But yeah, Haaland was always the plan. Salah out was also the plan, but I didn't really know who I was going to bring in for Salah, and I went for Mbeumo. He got only 2 points. He was so close to getting a goal, and it was pulled down by Nathan Collins, and somehow it was not a red card. It was a penalty though, however, but Bruno Fernandes missed the penalty and made sure that Mbeumo didn't get an assist either. So it could have worked out, could have had a goal there, could have had an assist, ended up with nothing, so I'm not too fussed about that. He was always like a short-term guy anyway, because I want to bring in someone else from game week 8 onwards when he has Liverpool and Mbeumo. So yeah, he just is a short-term pick who has Sunderland at home next game week, so I don't really mind that transfer either. And finally, the final transfer that I was dwelling on all the way until deadline really was if I was going to bring in Senesi or not for Agbadou. And in the end, I think it just came down to the fact that Senesi is just a really good player. Like, he's super good value. I was already thinking, like, a lot of people like you potentially who are not having Senesi at this point might be thinking like, oh, he's already got up in price to like 4.9. Is he worth it still? And I'm here to say, yes, he is definitely worth it. Not just because he got 7 points despite not getting a clean sheet this past game week, but because he's on pace for like 270 plus points currently at this rate. That's not going to happen, of course. He's gotten 2 assists. He's gotten DEFCON points in every single game so far. And he's also gotten 3 out of 6 clean sheets. That's not a sustainable pace, but like, he is still on pace to be a fantastic like asset, someone that is going to be more than good enough to be worth 4.9. If the season ended now and they were priced him next season, he would be priced at 5.5 at least, maybe even 6.0 if they really inflate the prices from DEFCON players next season, which could happen as well. So yeah, I think he's still worth way more than the 4.9 that he is now. So I think he's still someone that you can buy, someone that is really good, and that was the reason why I bought him in the end anyway, because Agbadou hasn't looked good. There were thoughts or talks about him getting dropped, which actually turned out to be true as well. He didn't even start for Wolves against Spurs, so even more so with the Senesi points and then Agbadou not starting, I was really vindicated with that final transfer. So I'm really happy with that. Also, a couple game weeks ago, I was wondering whether to sell Bowen, who had a bit of an awkward start for me in my team, gone down in price and stuff. I was wondering if I should sell him for Joao Pedro, who looked really good, but the last 2 game weeks, Bowen has scored 9 points in each of them, and Joao Pedro scored 2 points in each of them, getting me 14 extra points from that, and now having Bowen, who has really good fixtures. For what it's worth, I think Joao Pedro is still a good asset going forward, but I'm really happy to keep Bowen as well. So all in all, a really good game week, of course, with Gabriel getting 13 points. I'm a bit annoyed that he scored the goal that he was destined to get after most people wildcarded him in, because I've had him since game week 1 and he hasn't scored so far, but still nice to see the 13 points, of course. Also got DEFCON points again, which he did for me also in game week 4 when he got 9 points. 2 DEFCON points and clean sheet there. So really nice to see Gabriel have even more avenues to points. And DEFCON points in general, I think, are really interesting. Like, Senesi has gotten 6 out of 6, the only guy who's gotten DEFCON points in every single game week so far. But I think across the board, DEFCON points are just up for some reason. I don't know if it's down to tactics, if it's down to people being more aware of it, whether that's players or people tracking the stats. But it seems like DEFCONs are just up. So even in preseason, when people hyped up DEFCON, maybe that didn't even hype it up enough, because yeah, Senesi is looking super good currently with getting DEFCON points every single game and still being a good asset both attacking wise as a defender and also for clean sheets, because Bournemouth are a pretty good team this season. So yeah, fantastic all around. The game week ended on the best possible note for me as well, with Juff and Bowen getting me the 14 points needed to get 100 points. I'm down or into the triple digit club already in terms of 100 points plus. So really happy to see that as well. Juff with the assist, Bowen with the goal again for the second game week in a row. that makes me super happy, especially as a West Ham fan. So yeah, really happy with the game week. I benched Rodgers, who got an assist, really fluky assist, hit his hand on the way to Buendia, who scored. Richards conceded only 1 goal against Liverpool and got 2 DEFCON points as well, so he was even better than I expected, but I'm not too fussed because my defense was really good. Apart from Anderson getting 3 points, which is still decent when you lose 3-1. Like 3 points is actually pretty good since he got 2 DEFCON points, but yeah, I can't really complain about much this game week at all because I got 100 points and I'm up to 86k overall, which I'm really, really happy with. I still have my wildcard left to play as well, so I got a lot of things right this season so far, and I'm going to talk about it in a video next week where I'm going to go through game week 1 through game week 7, what went right, what went wrong, because I have made some mistakes as well, of course, but yeah, we'll get into that next week in another video. But we have a lot of things to get through in this video as well. We have a free hit draft from game week 6 that I'm going to compare and contrast to my own team. I'm just completely destroying my free hit selections so far because it's been really tough to select free hit teams, actually, because the newly promoted teams have been a lot better than we expected. Also going to get to the manager of the week because I had a manager of the week on the podcast, as I usually do with Kevin, but that is now, the rule there is now that I can't pick a manager of the week that has used a chip because that makes it a bit unfair because like it has to be sort of even playing ground. But this game week was a game week where a lot of people used their chips, including triple captain, and I think like the top like 20 people or something plus in the mini league actually had triple captain, probably even more than that, actually, more than 20, probably like closer to 50 people had like triple captain among the top scorers there. So I didn't want to highlight, or I did want to highlight someone that didn't use triple captain, but I'm also going to highlight the best manager that did use triple captain, who got 105 points. I was so close. I was second place in my mini league this week, but someone actually beat me to the spot for manager of the week. So I'm going to talk about that manager both for game week 6 and how that went for the manager, and also looking into the future for game week 7 and a little bit beyond that as well to give you guys some advice. So that's the thing that I do for every single week on this podcast. Basically, every single game week I highlight the manager of the week, the manager that gets the highest score in my mini league. So if you want to be part of that, and if you want to be the manager of the week potentially in a future game week, you can join the FPL Scope mini league with the league code FNPQ83. And like I said previously, if you get the highest score in a game week, I'll feature you either in a video or in the podcast that I do with my co-host Kevin, which I did yesterday. So check that out as well if you haven't already. But yeah, so I have a lot of things to get through. Let's just go into it rather than explaining what I'm going to talk to you about. Let's just go into it straight away. The free hit team for game week 6, I make a free hit team every single game week and I track the scores basically throughout the season to see how I've done. And currently, like my free hit overall rank, if I had unlimited transfers, I would be so much worse off than what my actual team is, which is kind of crazy. But it is also down to the fact that I've also used like a couple chips. I used free hit, of course. I've used triple captain now, which gave me 16 extra points, and I've also used bench boost, which gave me like 10 extra points. I didn't really make the best use of bench boost. That's one of the things I did wrong this season so far. But all in all, it's been a tough go around for free hit selections. I think that's also something that you should take into account when you're thinking of using your free hit or not. For me, like I said, preseason as well, I rather use the free hit to make my team better before and after the free hit rather than focusing on that singular game week and getting the highest score for that singular game week. That's why I said even before the season that I think game week 6 free hit is not the best thing to do, because I thought that Haaland would be someone that you want permanently, and other players that you would like try to target in a game week 6 free hit are players that you would want long term as well. So yeah, free hits are more to just like have players for that game week only, and then before and after you have your own team that is better without it. And that's what I did like rightly this season, using it in game week 3. I looked at that before the season, and that was the game week where Arsenal and Liverpool faced each other. I figured that would be a low-scoring game in terms of FPL points, and I was correct, because it was only basically Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai getting most points there, and Liverpool defenders. But by doing free hitting game week 3, I was able to have 2 Arsenal assets from game week 1 onwards. And now that people are trying to wildcard, they're trying to get Arsenal players, but I'm already here with 2 Arsenal players in hand. So yeah, in a really good position because I used the free hit cleverly. Despite not getting like the highest score on the free hit itself, my team has benefited both before and after. So yeah, I think that's just a lesson for future game weeks if you are wondering whether to use your free hit or not. But the game week 6 free hit score, like this was the team that I selected with the players that I thought were going to be the best players this game week. I got one thing right, at least in the starting lineup. That was Jeremy Doku, who's been fantastic. I think he's still a pretty good asset, but I think also his like jumping home point was game week 6. you're a bit late to the party now because City's fixtures are going to get worse and worse until game week 13 when they get really good again. But at that point, I don't know if Doc is going to be as like a sure starter anymore because they have so many good assets in Man City. But he scored 10 points. He probably should have been the player that I brought in rather than Mbeumo this game week. That would have helped me even more with my score. But yeah, he was really good. Of course, Haaland was the obvious captaincy pick. You can't triple captain him because you can't triple captain and free hit at the same time, of course. But he was a good pick, and Senesi was also a good pick with the 7 points. He's another player that I brought in. So I could have actually brought in all the 3 players that did perform in this team with Senesi, Doku, and Haaland, but I did bring in Mbeumo rather than Doku, which I thought looked good. And he could have, like I said, could have gotten more points if he had gotten that shooting chance. If Collins wouldn't have pulled him back, he could have scored. He could have gotten an assist if Fernandes had scored a penalty. So I don't really begrudge the Mbeumo pick either that much. But yeah, I also had Enzo on the bench, 9 points. Another positive from the free hit score. I should have probably just included it in the starting lineup after it was known that Palmer was not going to make it in Game Week 6, because without Palmer, Enzo is a really good asset. So yeah, he showed that once again, being in a really good scoring position, getting like a 0.96 XG chance, really, which is amazing. Yeah, so he's a really good player. Probably should have had him in the starting lineup as well. Also, like among the best alternatives, I had Semenyo, of course, who's someone that I think I'm just going to pick now in free hit squads because I think he's just like a safe option. And Michael Keane as well, who I should have known. Like, again, with Tarkowski being out, Michael Keane should have been in the squad because he is the most, like, the best potential goal scorer among the Everton full centre backs, and he's also going to get the points. Like, he's not as good on DEFCON points as Tarkowski, but Tarkowski didn't even get the DEFCON points in this game week. So yeah, that's another player that I could have had at least, maybe even alongside Tarkowski, because I thought Tarkowski was going to be a good asset against West Ham. But West Ham looked a bit better now with Nuno Espirito Santo. Yeah. So anyways, I think that's it basically for the free hit as well. I said a couple things about how to use your free hit, and we'll get into that as well with the Game Week 7 free hit suggestion that I'm going to have for you as well eventually. But like I mentioned, I'm going to talk about the manager of the week this week as well. The manager that got the most points in the FPL Scope Indie League this game week, even with chip usage, because a lot of people use triple captaincy chips. But this guy, Robert Spooner, did it the best. He also did the transfer of Dorgu to Keane, who I just mentioned now, as a good asset. He also has Enzo starting. So you can see like the main guys that I did like sort of suggest as like potential players on the free hit. This guy had permanently already. So yeah, Dorgu to Michael Keane, getting 11 points from that. That was what made a difference between me and him in the end. He got 105 points because Keane got 11 points, and I got 100 points because I didn't have Keane, basically. So yeah, kudos to you for that. Great transfer. Keane is probably, I mean, it is a bit of a short-term transfer because Branthwaite's going to be back pretty damn soon. And by that point, Keane is not going to be like a viable option, but I think you have like enough squad depth to deal with that. You have Declan Rice and Lacroix on the bench in this team, and they are really good players as well. So I think you have the bench depth to solve that, but it was really a short-term punt, and it worked out for you, so congrats on that. Triple captaincy on Haaland, of course, 48 points. That was the main thing to get a lot of points this game week, like I already talked about. And yeah, I basically talked about all the other players as well. Semenyo and Senesi, just fantastic long-term picks. But I have to actually, like, the main thing with this manager of the week, you can see the chips remaining. No chips remaining. Has used all chips. Bench boost game week 1, wildcard game week 2, free hit game week 4, and triple captain game week 6. I think this was like pretty much like a decided tactic before the start of the season, bench boosting in game week 1 and then wildcarding into a completely different team in game week 2. And I think that makes sense, especially seeing how you identified several key players to have in the squad already. You went for Semenyo, you went for Senesi, you went for Van de Ven, you went for a lot of good players actually in this team, wildcard game week 2. So while the bench boosting game week 1 thing is not ideal, I think you at least used your wildcard correctly in game week 2 and had a good team eventually, and now your rank is getting better and better. 540k is really nice at this point of the season, so yeah, you're doing really well after this game week especially. But yeah, you had Gabriel on the wildcarding game week 2, you had Senesi, you had Semenyo, you had the Salah and Haaland draft, I think, or did you bring in? Yeah, I think you had Haaland and Salah as well in the game week 2 wildcard, which is also super impressive. So yeah, just a really good wildcarding game week 2, which has set you up beautifully for the rest of the season after probably starting the season not the best in game week 1 despite using the bench boost. So yeah, I think your team's looking pretty good. Rice on the bench with 9 points. That's the only downside, I guess. You could have started him over Reinders, I guess. I mean, your starters were really good, so it makes sense that you bench Rice, I think, because yeah, him scoring against Newcastle away, probably not the best or like the biggest odds of that happening, but he got an assist, he got the Declan points, he got the DEFCON points as well, so 9 points for Declan Rice in the end. So yeah, kudos to you for this past game week. 105 points, really amazing, especially with Keane coming in for 11 points. That's also really interesting to see. So congrats on a great game week. And with that, you also get the Manager of the Week honors, and that means that I'm going to look into your team for next game week, which I'm going to do right now. A bit lacking in some ways because you don't have enough Arsenal assets. You have only Gabriel and Rice, and you don't really have that many ways to get Arsenal assets either into your team. That's the downside to this team. So yeah, the one thing you can do to bring in Arsenal assets is selling Salah, but I think at this point, like if you have Salah and Haaland, stick to it, because I think Salah has like super high potential still, and he has really good matches coming up pretty soon. Even this game against Chelsea, I think that's a pretty good match because Chelsea have some pretty like a lot of injury issues defensively. So I think Salah is someone that I would keep at this point. No use of like chasing after other people and doing the same thing as them and just being behind one step. Try to be a step ahead and have Salah, have a bit of a differential guy. This is something that I sort of talk about a bit in terms of FPL as well. Like whenever you don't have like the ideal team in the moment, you might have some things that could actually benefit you. For all the guys that wildcarded in Game Week 6, they have some extra like players that they don't really want anymore, probably, with Fernandes missing a penalty and Jai not doing much in his best match, Tarkowski not getting DEFCON points and stuff, Stach showing himself to just be a 5.0 backup who's not really worth it that much. You have some benefits compared to those that have wildcarded in Game Week 6 or people looking to wildcard now, because I think most people looking to wildcard now are not going to get Salah. So I think he could be like a major plus for you. But at the same time, he could be like a trap because he is quite a lot of money. So that's why I have the option to potentially sell him if you want to go that route. And I haven't listed Saka, who I would have gone for originally if you were to sell Salah. But I listed Eze because that means that you can bring in Isak for next game week for Guiu. So I think that could be your way into having still a Liverpool asset and still having an Arsenal asset for this game week as well. I think that's like a nice like middle way sort of thing to do this, I guess. But I think Salah is something that you should keep. I think you should just stand pat and have your team for now. See how Salah does in the Chelsea game. And then you can make a further assessment after that on what you want to do. But I think the fact that you have Joe Pedro, you have Enzo, you have Salah, these things are not looking good for this game week particularly, but for game week 8 onwards, they could be really good. Like especially Enzo, if Palmer is out long term, he's going to be a great pick because he is super valuable when Palmer is out. And I think you actually should probably start him in this team. I probably have lined it up incorrectly. You should probably start Enzo just because he has that attacking threat. He is playing Liverpool, but Liverpool have been pretty suspect, I guess, defensively this season. So I think Enzo is still a good option that you could probably start. It's just that you have a lot of good starters. I think potentially just benching Lacroix probably, Everton away, most likely going to concede in that game, despite them not having Dewsbury Hall. But you could start Enzo instead, or Keane for that matter, if you prefer Everton in that fixture. It's a bit of a headache with the benching thing here, but you don't have bench boost, and I wouldn't use it anyway because you have Mark Yu as well stinking up the bench. But that's because you've already used your bench boost. You don't have to worry about the bench depth as much as everyone else, pretty much. So yeah, the option I think which is the best for you is just standing pat and seeing what happens, just hoping and praying that Arsenal don't do well this game week, and then you'll have a really good team from game week 8 onwards when you have Liverpool and Chelsea assets and cover when most people don't, or a lot of people don't at least. Some people have a lot of people have Joe Pedro now. He's one of the most highly owned players in the game. But a lot of people are looking to potentially sell him now. And I think if he has another dud, I think a lot of people are going to sell him. If he doesn't score against Liverpool, a lot of people are going to sell him. And I think he's going to be a good asset going forward. So even though I don't have him myself and I don't have any plans to bring him in, I think it's still a really good option to have, of course, because they have really good matches eventually. So yeah, I think those are like the two primary things that I would go for with your team. You have a bit of a benching dilemma there, Enzo or Lacroix or Van de Ven. Again, I think it's also down to if Palmer is back. If Palmer is back, it's easy to bench Enzo. But if Palmer is out still, I probably would start Enzo over Lacroix in this instance, because I think Palace against Everton, there's probably going to be goals both ways there, but I'm not quite sure. Both those teams are pretty good both ways. It's going to be an interesting game for sure. So yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the transfer plans. Like I said, if you do the Salah to Eze move, which I think is preferable to Salah to Saka because you can bring in Isak next game week, then yeah, you're in a pretty good position, I think. But I think standing pat is also probably what I would do because you have a pretty solid team. You don't really have many bad picks here. Michael Keane might actually be like the only like bad long-term pick, but like he's someone that you can just have on your bench as well. Like like I said, you've used your bench boost, you have enough squad depth, you don't really have to worry too much about that. So I think your team is actually pretty good for the future. So yeah, not the best looking team for this game week, but for future game weeks, I think it's looking really good actually. So yeah, standing pat and saving up a transfer, getting to and having more room to do something with the Salah money immediately. So you don't have like 4 million in the bank, which you would have with the second option here with Salah to Eze. I think that could be the best option for you. But yeah, just consider it. Depends how Salah is looking as well. But I think he's someone that I would keep if I had him already, even though I didn't have him in the wildcard draft this past game week. Let's move on to the free hit draft this next game week as well. Game week 7 free hit draft. I've already talked about this, I think, previously in the video. Did I? Or did I just make the team and not talk about it? I can't remember exactly. There's a lot of different content creation things going on, but let's just go through it from start to bottom, I guess, from goalkeeper to striker and every bench player. Nick Pope in goal, I think he is just a safe, good goalkeeper to have. Nottingham Forest have shown really not that much in terms of being a good team currently. So I think Nick Pope has a decent chance there at home at St. James's Park. Gabriel against West Ham and Timber against West Ham. Pretty easy decision for me to have 3 Arsenal players with Yuckers up front as well. And I think Gabriel and Timber have a really good chances of getting attacking points from corners, because West Ham are really bad from just set pieces and just balls into the box in general. And Arsenal are really good at that. So yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if either Gabriel or Timber scores in this game. I think they're both really good assets. Senesi, as always, he has so many routes to points. He is so good, like I mentioned at the start of this video. Fulham at home is also like a decent fixture. Fulham aren't the best currently, and they don't have a striker, it seems like, for this game week, with Muniz and Raul Jimenez both being out. So Senesi is a good pick in defense. In midfield, I've gone with Foden just because he scored I think he scored 6 goals against Brentford at the GTEC or something recently. I saw a tweet from FPL Olympian, I think, with that. He has been really, really good against Brentford in the past, so I just think I should go for that fixture. I did think about not having him in the squad just because he's played so many minutes now. I'm a bit worried about his minutes. So if you're like one of those risk-averse managers, then go for someone else. Go for someone like Mbeumo, who's the same price, who is my best alternative against Sunderland at home. I think he's also a good alternative. But Foden, just the upside is too much there. Even if he gets only 30 minutes against Brentford, and I think he'll get that at a minimum. I think there's a decent chance he gets 90 minutes. There's a good chance that he gets 70 plus minutes, and there's at least 95% chance that he gets 30 minutes, I think. If not, maybe if he gets benched the whole game, you get cash off the bench. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world either. But yeah, Foden just has too much high upside for me to not go with him this game week. Semenyo has just too high of a floor to not go with him because he's just a good player in general. And Fulham, like I said, aren't the best, have conceded quite a lot of goals this season. So I think Semenyo is still a fantastic pick for this game week, as always. Anthony Gordon from Newcastle, I had him selected in my wildcard drafts, at least before he scored the 2 penalty goals in the Champions League. He's the penalty taker. He's going to play pretty much all the time for Newcastle. I had someone comment down below that with Barnes and Elanga and these guys, he's not going to play as much as he has done in the past in previous seasons. But even with Gordon out suspended, Elanga and Barnes didn't really play that much. So I don't really see that happening myself. I would be surprised to see Gordon not play 90 minutes-ish most matches. And I think Nottingham Forest at home is a really nice point for him to have him, especially for your free hitting, for example. He is someone that I would pick. Minte as well. Against Wolves away, I think he's a really solid pick in a really good match for Brighton. Wolves have been pretty bad this season, and Minte has been really good this season, so I think that bodes well for him. It seems like Mitoma might be out for this game as well, so Minte could be the main focal point of attack for Brighton there, which could help them. It also could weaken them because Mitoma is a great player and he's going to help them offensively. But I think Minte is just a really nice punt for this game as well against Wolves. A really nice match. Haaland is captain. Easy choice. He's in the form of his life. No reason to doubt that. Scored twice against Monaco as well in the Champions League. He's fantastic. Yerkes against West Ham at home. He's also shown some promising signs, I think. And West Ham are a team that you can definitely score a lot of goals against. Especially Arsenal have done that in the past. I know as a West Ham fan, painfully. Watkins against Burnley at home. He scored last game week. Almost had the assist as well. Probably should have had the assist. It was just it hit the hand of Rodgers. So he could have had a goal and assist this past game week against Fulham, and now he plays an even better fixture against Burnley at home. So I think he's also a pretty dead set player to have, and he's actually gotten the vice captaincy armband as well in this game because I think he's a pretty good player to have this game week. On the bench, Dubravka away to Aston Villa. Yes, I just mentioned that Watkins is a good pick, but also Aston Villa haven't been the best this season, so maybe Dubravka as well. But again, it's just down to the fact that I need the team value, and Dubravka is the only starting 4.0 goalkeeper that we currently have in the game. Matty Cash against Burnley at home, I think is a decent first bench option in case like someone like Foden doesn't play, for example. But usually you don't really need your bench on the free hit. So I also have Goodmanson and King as like cheap players there. Goodmanson against Tottenham at home, I think he's like a decent starter potentially. I talked about this with Kevin, who could potentially start him in the FPL Score podcast. Because Spurs haven't really been that good offensively, and Leeds have been really solid at home at Ellen Road. So I think Goodmanson is a decent player for 4.0 to have on your bench at least. And then Josh King is the cheapest midfielder that plays, so he could also get points, but I don't think so against Bournemouth away, but he's third bench anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much. When it comes to alternatives, I already mentioned Mbuemo. Up front, I really like Woltemade. He's going to play at least 60 minutes. He usually gets subbed off right after 60 minutes, which is the downside, which is why I haven't really gone for him. Also because I really like Haaland, Jökers, and Watkins a lot in this team. As far as defender goes, Guardiola had a really nice assist for Haaland in the Champions League, but they also conceded twice. So that's the downside with City assets, that they can always concede, especially against Brentford. We've seen that in the past. Brentford score random goals. Ivan Toney, I think, comes to mind, scored a couple of clean sheet breaking goals there for Brentford against Man City, and yeah, they just seem to concede all the time. But Guardiola is a really solid player. He's going to play mostly every game. He's a threat from set pieces, and he's also a threat from open play, as we've seen. So I think he's also a really good alternative there as a defender. So that's pretty much it for everything else apart from my own plans. So let's get into that as well. This is going to be a pretty long video because there's a lot of things to cover this game week. So let's just get into it with my plans for this next upcoming game week. So these are my GW7 players. As a reminder, I haven't used my wildcard yet, so I have a really solid team, I think, for that reason, or like not for that reason, but because, what am I trying to say here? Let's collect my thoughts. I have a solid team, especially considering I haven't used the wildcard, which I'm really happy with. So yeah, Sells in goal. I gone with him rather than Dubravka. I think it's like a big, like, if you have Sells and Dubravka, I would probably mostly start Dubravka myself. But since I have Rodgers in the team, I feel like I'm just going to go, since it's like pretty much a 50-50 decision between Sells and Dubravka, because Sells has a much tougher fixture. I think I'm just going to go with Sells and try to maximize my points there and hope that Rodgers does well and deletes the clean sheet for Dubravka, and that Sells somehow gets a clean sheet against Newcastle. But I could flip it all the way around with the third option that I have here in transfers. I could do Rodgers to Gordon and have a Newcastle attacker rather than an Aston Villa attacker. If that's the case, I would also swap Sells and Dubravka and start Dubravka and bench Sells. So I have that option as well. I could also potentially just bring in a new goalkeeper entirely and bring in Petrovic in goal, because I quite like him for the long term. I think Bournemouth have shown to be a really good team this season, so he is someone that I could bring in, but I think a goalkeeper transfer is probably not what I want to do. It's just something that I would do potentially to bring in money, to bring in players that I want for a higher price, so that's why I'm potentially considering it. But I also think there's an option here now with Liverpool and Alisson getting injured. Liverpool not getting injured, but Alisson getting injured for Liverpool. That opens up the spot for Mamardashvili, who's 4.3. So having a Liverpool defender for 4.3, if he's going to play, at least like since I'm wildcarding in Gaming 13 because I have my wildcard left, if Alisson's going to be out until Gaming 12, which is like the next international break after Gaming 8, then I want Mamardashvili, I think. So I think that's probably going to be what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait and see what sells, and then I might go for Mamardashvili if Alisson is out for a long time. Otherwise, I might also just keep Sells because I don't really like goalkeeper transfers that much, and I can do a goalkeeper change in Gaming 13 when I have my wildcard anyway. In defense, Gabriel and Senesi, I already talked about those guys from the free hit team. They're really good options. Richards, someone that I have to start, I guess, because I don't really like Juve against Arsenal away. I think that's a tough fixture. Anderson against Bournemouth away, I also think it's tough, and I have Semenyo and Senesi, so I don't hope he does gets that many points in that game. Richards, Everton away, pretty tough game, but Everton at least have lost Dewsbury Hall now to suspension. That's going to help Palace potentially keep a clean sheet. I don't think Everton looked quite as good against West Ham either offensively, so there is a chance for a clean sheet there for Richards, and as always, there is a chance for those extra DEFCON points because Richards is really good in that regard as well. Anderson is as well, but I think Bournemouth away is just a tougher fixture than Everton at this moment in time, especially without Dewsbury Hall there, and also the fact that I have Semenyo in my starting lineup. Mbuemo against Sunderland at home. This is his final game week to show me something after I brought him in for a short-term punt. That's like the aim for me in future game weeks. There are some good mid-price options now. Gordon's one of them. Minte is one of them. Ismail Assar is one of them that I quite like for like a lower price. But ideally, I think if Palmer is back from game week 8, that's the player I want to replace Mbuemo with in the starting lineup. So yeah, Mbuemo has one more game week to impress me, but I'm going to most likely sell him in game week 8 no matter what, and that's why I'm sort of leaning more towards just standing pat and not doing any transfers this week and save myself up to 2 transfers and having extra funds available. Yeah, let's move on to the next few players. Rogers is someone that I've kept him this long, so I might as well just keep him for Burnley at home. This is the final good fixture that he has, and then game week 8 I can sell him and bring in one of those mid-price players that I want to get, because currently I'm pretty happy with my attacking players. My defense I'm pretty happy with as well. I think all picks are solid. Like Anderson is like the least favorite defender that I have, and a lot of people are looking to bring him in potentially pretty soon. So yeah, I think my defense is pretty good. I think my attack is pretty good. My midfield is where it needs work in game week 8, and Mbeumo out and Rogers out at that point. But Rogers for game week 7 and then Mbeumo for game week 7 are really good assets. So that's why I'm leaning towards just standing pat and doing no transfers in this game week, and then reassessing and having 2 new midfielders for Mbeumo and Rogers next game week. But I could sell Rogers already for Gordon. I really like Gordon in the short term until the wildcard in game week 13, where he's also really good. Like Newcastle actually have a good fixture, so game week 13 onwards as well. So I think Newcastle assets are slept upon currently, and I might just go for Gordon for that reason, and do Rogers to Gordon. But I also want to just keep my options open a little bit, I think. Reinders is also just going to stay in the team despite City getting some tougher matches. He's still really, really good, especially now with Marmoush and Shirky still out. He's going to be roaming forward in those good positions. He hit the bar in the Champions League. He can get involved in assists and stuff like we saw against Arsenal for Haaland. So yeah, Reinders is fantastic. He's going to stay in my team for probably maybe the whole season. I had him since game week 1 as well. Pretty happy with that. Haaland is going to be my captaincy choice again. Pretty easy captaincy choice. I don't think he's the best triple captaincy choice. He is in great form though, so I wouldn't begrudge anyone going with triple captain there, but I think there's going to be better fixtures in the future. Like I said in the podcast yesterday, form is temporary, class is permanent, and Haaland has just shown that he is class. Like this is not like a form thing. I think he is just a fantastic player. When Man City are good, he's going to be good, and I think Man City are good this season. I think they're being slept upon. So yeah, I think Haaland's going to be a great asset, but I think he's going to have some better triple captaincy game weeks coming up. And I think that's why you should probably save it if I was looking to triple captain or not. But yeah, he's always a good triple captaincy option. So and single game weeks, anything can happen. So against Burnley as well, he got an assist and then he got 2 goals in injury time. Easily could have been just an assist and that's it. So it could have been an awful triple captaincy shout, but instead it was an amazing triple captaincy shout for what happened in injury time. So there's a huge part of luck involved when it comes to getting a lot of points on your triple captain. So yeah, wouldn't be too against you using triple captaincy, but I would probably hold off on it myself with Haaland. Gyökeres is my vice captain. West Ham at home, really good fixture for him. I think that's where he needs to shine, unless or not. If not, he's going to be sold by a lot of people, I think. Perhaps wrongly, because I think Arsenal just have good fixtures, and Gyökeres is going to be really good this season overall. But this is like his last super good chance to show his worth really before people are potentially looking to sell him, because there's a lot of good options from game week 8 onwards. One of them is Jared Bowen. I have him in my team now, begrudgingly, I guess. I know a lot of people that wildcarded, or most people that wildcarded in game week 6 have double Arsenal defense, so I'm going to hope that Bowen scores. Of course, I'm going to hope that the Bowen scores regardless, because I'm a West Ham fan first and foremost, and he's scored so much lately, and I wouldn't put it past him to score again, because he's just in great form as well. Scored 9 goals in the last 14 Premier League appearances. He's just an amazing player. So I'm just going to start him regardless. It's the toughest game of the season, Arsenal away, especially for an attacker. That's the toughest game, facing the best defense in the league by quite a distance, Arsenal's defense. But yeah, I'm just going to have to start him and hope that it is well, of course. On the bench, Dubravka, like I mentioned previously, Anderson, who I'm looking to potentially sell. That's the other option that I do have, selling Anderson for Timber. That would mean that I would have to bench someone, and that would be Richards that I would bench against Everton away. That's a pretty tough fixture still. But I think I'm like fine with Richards. He has DEFCON points at least, potentially, which Timber doesn't have. And Timber has, I really like Timber for the long term. I've had him in my Walker draft, and I had him in the free hit draft as well. But I think I'm not ready to do that transfer, potentially. I don't know. It is tempting because I think Timber's going to have a huge score in this game week. I think there's a good chance that he does, but at the same time, I want to preserve my transfers and not do transfers unless I'm like 100% certain. And that has worked out really well for me this season so far. So yeah, I'm probably going to hold off on that, but I might still do it. I might get tempted to. Like I said last week with Senesi, I'm sort of tempted in a similar way to get Timber potentially this game week. But yeah. Then final bench players, we have King and Juff. King, don't really expect much from him. Bournemouth away, playing 60 minutes, and then he'll be subbed off as usual probably. He's been really good lately though. He is someone that is like on like the cusp of being fantastic, especially for 4.5. But he's blanked every game so far because he hasn't gotten his first goal yet. For several reasons. He's been a bit screwed in that regard. Maybe, like, I think most of the decisions against him have been correct. Maybe not the Chelsea one, but yeah, he's gonna come good eventually, I think. And I don't mind having him in my squad either. Might even be someone that I have on the Game Week 13 wildcard just because he's so cheap and still starts every game. And then Jof, who's a really good asset for the future. He just gets assists every single game, it seems like now. He's just a fantastic player all around, so I don't mind having him in the long term, but Arsenal away, I'm never going to start him anyway, so he's on the bench there. And I think that's pretty much it for the video. Talked quite a lot in this video, been a lot of things to cover. I think it's been a pretty helpful video, not only for me to talk about, but also for you guys to watch, hopefully. So if you have liked what you've heard in this video, where I've talked so fast and I've also talked for like 30 minutes. So yeah, a lot of things to cover this game week. But yeah, like the video if you can, subscribe if you haven't seen my content before, and if you just clicked on the thumbnail because you saw, 86k, 5 straight arrows. Yeah, I'm happy with that, but it's still early season. I still have to prove myself as a manager, despite me having some good ranks in the past, as you can see over me there. But yeah, subscribe if you like what you saw. Comment down below if you have any questions about your team at all. I'm going to have some plans for next game week as well that I'll get into eventually in other videos. Even though it is international break, I'm not going to be lazy and do nothing. I'm going to make a lot of videos for you guys next week as well. So yeah, with all that in mind, thank you for watching. See you next time, hopefully. And that's it. Bye-bye.